Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're tackling a really common, but pretty complex challenge. It's that mission of opening a U.S. business bank account if you're a foreign, non-resident entrepreneur. We want to cut through that complexity and give you a clearer path forward.
And complex is definitely the word. It's not simple at all. Maybe even formidable.
Formidable, okay. Why so tough?
Well, the core issue really comes down to strict regulations put in place post 9/11, things like the Bank Secrecy Act, the USA Patriot Act.
Right, we hear those terms thrown around.
Exactly, but they have real teeth. They essentially turn banks into, well, regulated gatekeepers.
Gatekeepers, meaning?
Meaning they have to conduct really rigorous know your customer, that's KYC and anti-money laundering AML checks.
Okay, KYC and AML, so it's not just like filling out a form.
Oh, definitely not. KYC means the bank has to deeply verify who you are, what your business does, and crucially, where your funds are coming from. It's all about preventing illicit activity.
Wow, okay, that really paints a picture of the challenge. So, for you, the entrepreneur, what's the payoff for getting through those gates? Why jump through these hoops?
Well, successfully opening that account, it's basically like unlocking your financial engine in the U.S.
The engine, okay.
Yeah, it's your gateway to the world's largest consumer market. It gives you access to, domestic payment systems like ACH.
ACH, right, that's essential for things like direct deposits, paying suppliers.
Absolutely. It's how most basic domestic transactions happen. Plus, it seriously boosts your credibility with U.S. customers and partners. It shows you're properly established.
Okay, so the goal is clear. High stakes, high reward. Let's demystify this. Where do we start on this strategic roadmap you mentioned? Step one.
Step one is absolutely locking down your foundational assets, no question.
Foundational assets, like?
Like getting your U.S. business entity properly formed, whether that's an LLC or a C Corp, and obtaining that crucial employer identification number, your EIN, from the IRS.
Right, the EIN.
Without those two things, you're not even at the starting line for a bank account. And just a note for foreign-owned LLCs especially, be aware of specific IRS reporting, like Form 5472. It ties right into this setup.
Okay, foundation first, entity and EIN. Got it. Once that's solid, what about picking a bank? Just walk into the nearest big branch?
Not necessarily. Actually, we strongly suggest thinking about a hybrid banking strategy.
Hybrid? What do you mean?
Don't just rely on one type of institution. Maybe leverage some of the remote-friendly fintech platforms that are often great for day-to-day stuff.
Okay, like online banks.
Yeah, think quicker setup, maybe lower fees, definitely easier digital access, but then maybe also use specialized payment services like Wise, perhaps, for your international transactions.
Because they might offer better exchange rates or lower fees for sending money across borders.
Exactly. The idea is to use the right tool for the right job. Play to each platform's strengths.
Yeah.
Optimize both your domestic and your international money flows.
Okay, choosing the right mix of tools. Makes sense. Now, with potentially multiple accounts and all these regulations, the paperwork must be intense.
Intense is an understatement. This is critical. Prepare a master documentation file. And I mean meticulously over-prepared.
Over-prepared?
Yes. Have every single document ready. Formation papers, operating agreement, proof of address, both U.S. and home country, and really importantly, proof that your business is legitimate and active.
And consistency is key, I imagine.
Absolutely crucial. Banks scrutinize everything for consistency. Names, addresses, details. Even a tiny discrepancy between documents can raise a red flag. It could delay or even kill your application.
Wow. Okay, so the file needs to be perfect. Then comes the actual application. Is it just submitting the forms?
Not quite. You need to execute that application with absolute precision. Every single detail must match across everything you submit. And be prepared for it to take time. You need patience. Remember, the banks are gatekeepers. They will scrutinize everything. A common tripwire is that U.S. physical address requirement. Even if you use a virtual office, make sure it's legitimate and presented clearly.
Okay, patience and precision on the application. Given all these rules, especially tax implications, what about getting professional help?
Oh, definitely. Engaging a U.S. tax professional who specializes in international matters, it's pretty much non-negotiable in our view.
Especially for foreign-owned businesses.
Especially then, yes.
Yeah.
The U.S. tax system is complex, particularly around foreign ownership. Things like treaty benefits, FATCA compliance. A specialist helps you navigate all that proactively. It avoids very costly mistakes down the road.
Proactive, not reactive. Good advice. So let's say you get the account open. Success. Is the journey over then?
Not by a long shot. Once it's open, you absolutely have to maintain it with what I call an audit-ready mindset.
Audit ready?
Yeah. Think transparency, meticulous record keeping, It's your best defense if the bank ever questions anything, or, worse, freezes your account.
So keeping track of everything.
Everything. Imagine the bank suddenly asks for proof invoices, receipts, payment records for every transaction in the last 6 months. Could you provide it instantly? Clearly, that's the level you need.
That makes sense for staying compliant and keeping the account healthy. Any last piece of this puzzle, maybe on the tech side?
Yes, one final point. Vet your entire technology stack.
Meaning?
Meaning if you use payment gateways like Shopify Payments, Stripe, PayPal, whatever, understand their specific requirements for linking to your U.S. bank account.
Ah, because the gateway might have its own rules.
Exactly. Don't get blindsided by some platform-specific detail that messes up your cash flow. Make sure everything talks to each other smoothly.
Okay, great point. So wrapping up this deep dive, it seems the strategic checklist for you, the entrepreneur, is pretty clear. Get those foundational assets entity, EIN, locked down first. Adopt that hybrid banking strategy, mixing fintechs and maybe specialists. Prepare that master documentation file with obsessive detail and consistency. Execute the application precisely and patiently. Absolutely. Bring in a U.S. tax pro who knows international issues. Maintain the account like you could be audited tomorrow. And finally, make sure your whole tech stack, especially payment processors, plays nicely with your bank.
That's a great summary. And maybe a final thought for you to consider. Yes, this process is undeniably complex. It's a hurdle.
Huh.
But truly understanding these intricacies, navigating them successfully, transforms this whole challenge. It stops being just an obstacle and becomes a really powerful, scalable asset for your global growth. You're building a robust financial foundation in the world's biggest market. That's empowering.